I'd like to say a few things about the rhythm of chaos in the 5 rhythms and what it has to do with forgiveness. So, this is a layer of chaos that I've recently unlocked and that I've been working with in my own practice for the last little while. And in the rhythm, chaos is the third of the 5 rhythms, and it's the rhythm of surrender, right? It's where we surrender to this moment exactly as it is, where we let go of our stories of selfing, where we let go of scanning the past and scanning the future for possible threat, and instead we're right here with everything as it's unfolding in sometimes intense and sometimes with intensity, sometimes gently, but it's being part of things as they arise and come together and fall apart, and arise and come together and falling apart. And it's surrendering our very human, very programmed tendency to try to hold on to these things that we can't control anyway. And forgiveness is a special kind of surrender. With forgiveness, we're surrendering our stories of blame, right? Sometimes we need to not forgive, right? Sometimes we need the energy of maybe even blame, the energy of anger. We need to protect ourselves. We need to be in that place, right? And if we get to a place where blaming and unforgiveness becomes a habit that's not even connected to a specific incident any longer, we can come to a place where instead of just protecting ourselves and locking other people out, we're locking ourselves in, right? And we're causing more pain to our own self. We're doing more harm to our own self than we could do to anyone, any external person, right? And so as we consider this very, very, very loaded thing, one thing that comes to mind that I want to say is that forgiveness can be a touchy subject and it can be problematic, right? If we're talking about people who identify as members of marginalized groups who have been oppressed and abused for, sometimes decades or centuries, forgiveness might not be an appropriate thing to ask people to do, right? That might not be available or even skillful. And that is just to say that everyone is in charge of their own process, right? This is not a mandate, not a matter of like morality, like to forgive is good. Like, this is not a commandment. I don't personally have all that much use for morality. This is more an energetic and perhaps psychological investigation. Yeah, and I think it's also important to mention that when we forgive, we don't have to be in proximity to whoever or whatever it is that we're forgiving, right? We can forgive from afar and still have our boundaries in a way that is safe and skillful. But for a lot of us, inviting forgiveness can free up space, right? That we've kind of shut down inside ourselves, in our jaw, in our fists, in our shoulders, in our bellies, in our backs, right? In our locked necks. And it can free up that energy. It can free us up to write a new story, to have a new experience, right? To let go. A personal story about forgiveness and really why this came about, this new area of inquiry for me. I have a difficult relationship with someone who's very close to me. Used to have a very difficult relationship with someone who's very close to me. And it's someone I love dearly and I'm very connected to, but with whom I've had just an incredibly difficult time at times. And at times I've been very afraid in this relationship, and that has brought out a lot of defensiveness in me, which, is not serving anyone. It's not helping anyone, right? And I'll be a little more specific during class tomorrow night about this, but the thing that happened is that I was in a place of really serious crisis with another family member, and this person had my back in a way that was above and beyond skillful, supportive, generous, amazing. Like, when I even think about it, a lot of times I'll get a catch in my throat and my heart, because it was just, more than even the needs that I could understand myself. This person understood and was there for me, without judgment. Just absolutely beyond. And through that experience, this unforgiveness that I held so tightly, that was such a part of who I thought I was, right? Who I felt I needed to be, just dissolved. It just didn't matter anymore. Anyone who could be there for me in such a way, I just couldn't hold on to the stories of blame anymore. I didn't want to hold on to them anymore. It really blew the doors of my heart open, right? And it made me want to be even more generous than I have been, and it made me just want to be be there for other people too, and be there for this person. And that was really an incredible experience of forgiveness, And so in a way, forgiveness is not so much something that we do. It's not so much a doing as an allowing, right? As in letting go of that story of blame, letting go of that story of myself as a victim even, right? And instead softening and really letting what's happening in this moment be my experience, not being controlled by all of these stories of the past. And in the 5 rhythms, the biggest thing the physical exploration is really, how do we release the head, right? Sylvia Tomczyk, in a recent 5 Rhythms Chaos workshop in New York, said, once we were low, we were to the ground, humans were attuned to their instinctive self. They were sniffing for danger. They were, listening, feeling the vibrations in the ground, right? And then when we got up onto our feet, there became this hierarchy of the head, right? And she said, it's like the head sometimes is just up here all judgy and critical, right? And we could say blamey or blaming. And so there's nothing wrong with the head, certainly. It's an important part of the body, and we certainly needed to think. But as our investigation, is there a way that instead of the head being the top of this hierarchical system, can the head actually be integrated with the rest of the body, with the rest of our gestures, right? So just like we said, forgiveness is not so much a doing as it is an allowing. By the same token with the head, is there a way that we can, instead of moving our head, right, can we just allow the head to be moved? Right? And so that's one of the things we're really going to work with and play around with in tomorrow night's class. So I'm going to invite us to really explore movement in the hips and in the spine, and then inviting the head to just follow along, kind of like those, those bobbleheads on the cars. They just kind of, so that's going to be part of our investigation tomorrow, and we'll just explore this territory. We have no idea what'll come through, and I'm really looking forward to moving with everyone who can make it tomorrow. This will be my last summer session for summer 2024, so I'm really hoping as many people as possible can come out. And thank you if you've listened to this video the whole time. I'm so impressed, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate you. Thank you.